Hey everyone, today I'm sitting down with Eddie and Jenny from Malomo, and we're going to talk about how we were able to automate sales and support with branded shipment tracking for one of our mutual brands, Soylent. Eddie, Jenny, thank you so much for coming on. Super excited to walk through this with you. Can you just give everybody a quick intro on who you are and what you do?
Jenny, you first.
Okay. I am the customer success manager for the Soylent account. So I helped them get implemented onto our platform, and I maintain our relationship, day-to-day relationship management.
Yeah, and then I'm Eddie Schmehill, head of revenue here at Malomo. So working with brands, getting them excited about branded order tracking, leading the sales team over here and covering all that side of the business. So it's good to be here and appreciate the invite, Brandon.
Of course, I'm excited to dive in here. So I think it would be helpful just to give everybody like a high level overview of what Malomo is before we dive into the nitty gritty of how we're able to enable your solution for Soylent and produce the crazy results we were able to do.
Yeah, definitely. So Malomo is an order tracking solution for Shopify merchants. And so we basically turn the typical, generic, stale, Shopify shipping experience where customers are getting that Shopify transactional email, going to that carrier tracking page, turning that into an opportunity for Shopify merchants that are looking to drive retention and connect with their customers, turning that into a marketing channel to do so. And so kind of the overall reason Malomo exists is we typically see customers check tracking 4 to 5 times on average per order. So, for a brand doing 10,000 orders, that's a lot of impressions that they're giving up to Shopify or to the carrier. And so there's definitely a lot to dig into there, but that's kind of the overarching space that we play in.
I think that's when it all clicked for me when I first had a demo call with you, probably like a year ago now. And you mentioned the 4.6 times per order that they check the tracking page. And then like when we started to do our audits for brands like Soylent, for example, you would see that 15-20% of their total website traffic was going to that Shopify order tracking page. I was like, oh my goodness, there's just so much opportunity here that's being left untouched. And then your solution just makes it so easy. Like we can be up and running like a week and a half, especially because of how streamlined we have things now. It's been invaluable.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that we really position ourselves around are like, from the customers or the consumer's point of view, it's not just that they're looking for their tracking information, but at that point in their experience with the merchant, right? They've come to love this brand. They've come to really appreciate the story that they have, the product, the differentiation that brand might have against all the other products out there. And so from the customer's angle, there's really no other time they're more excited about that brand than at that time. So it's not that they're checking those transactional emails and that tracking page a lot. It's kind of, the highest emotional time of the customer too, as they're checking those. So it's the combination of those two things that allow us to, really drive a lot of value for the brands that we work with.
Yeah, I never even thought of transactional as a revenue channel until we got introduced to you. And I was like, this is just, I know without a doubt of any brand that we start working with on the email and SMS side, when we're doing like play deal work for them, that if we just implement Malomo, they're going to be happy as hell with us for the first 3 months because this is like the revenue goes through the roof. And I just sit there and it makes me look like a genius, even though I'm just plug it in playing. So I'm always appreciative of that. I think another big thing too, especially with the brands like at scale, that ability to create those custom flows to reduce support. Like I know, I don't know if we did it with Soylent, Jenny, but you've been able to help us sort of, if it's been X amount of days and then product still isn't shipped out, like at least being proactive with notifying the customer can help a lot in reducing those support tickets.
Yeah, having the delay emails set up in our flows has been like monumental given all of the delays that the customers have been experiencing in the current climate. We have one set in pre-transit and in transit. So the pre-transit delay is the time delay is a little shorter because you would think it only takes probably 1 day for the order to be packed up and then shipped out. And then of course, if it's been more than a week since your order has shipped out and it still hasn't been delivered to you, then we're going to notify you that, hey, your order is still on the way. It's just running late. So customers don't have to reach out to the brand and ask where their package is. The brand can be a little more proactive in letting them know that it's running late.
Yeah, and I've even seen things about how if a customer has like an experience like that where there is a delay, if the brand is able to make it right by at least doing that proactive communication and whatnot and showcasing how much they care, even if it is in an automated fashion, that ends up impacting sort of their retention rate, how likely they are to refer the brand to their friends, which seems counterintuitive. Like, oh, if you have a bad experience, you're not going to want to shop with them again. But that's an opportunity for a brand to actually double down on that customer relationship and really scale it from there.
Yeah, and as Jenny said on that note, Brandon, as Jenny said, like the current climate, the thing is like everyone's fully aware of what's going on when it comes to the supply chain crisis and all the carrier issues going on. That's been happening since really COVID has begun and at that time. So everyone's aware that like carriers and supply chains messed up. And so if you what we've heard a lot in conversations with merchants is we just want to be able to communicate something to our customers, because as long as we, like you said, get ahead of it, they typically understand. It's when you don't communicate is when the where's my order tickets come in, or customers telling their friends, had the worst experience possible with this new brand, never buy there. So yeah, we hear that a lot. Like as long as you get ahead of it, as long as you communicate something, customers are pretty understanding of those situations.
Yeah, and I think like we try to do that, like showing it at checkout, like, hey, shipping is not going to take a day. And then also showing it immediately in that order confirmed email, like, hey, this is probably going to take like 2 to 3 days to process, and just making sure that throughout every touch point, expectations are set. Because it's just like, as an agency, we don't want to overpromise and underdeliver. It's the same thing as if you're a brand, as if really anything in life. It's always better to do better, do more than what you set out and promised than reverse. Yeah. So
yeah,
I think, go ahead.
Oh, no, sorry, I was just going to add one more thing. I think that's when you ask like what Malomo does, it's always a little tricky to talk about, because on one side of Malomo, there's the, as Jenny was talking about, the support side, the delayed emails, the customer service and customer experience piece. And then the marketer's favorite side of it, which is how do we drive more revenue from existing customers? We're solving both of those problems and a lot of smaller problems within those two buckets. So there's definitely a lot in this little time with the customer and little notifications. There's definitely a lot to unpack and a lot that can happen from the time they buy to the thing to the time that thing arrives at their doorstep. So it's definitely a great experience, or a really important experience to take advantage of as a Shopify merchant.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I love how deep your integration is with Klaviyo, because for us, we didn't really have a way, unless we wanted to do like custom transactional emails, to build out personalized transaction flows, which are an integral part of that post-purchase experience, and making sure that they come back and place order number 2 and order number 3. And before, I mean, standard Shopify template or recharge too, because a lot of our merchants aren't both. So that's even worse when you have the recharge notifications and the Shopify ones, and they both look completely different and they're not succinct at all. But bringing them over into Klaviyo, we can now be very, very specific with who receives what and when. And it's actually a part of our post-purchase flow. Whereas like pre-state, all the brands we worked with, they had a post-purchase flow in Klaviyo, and then they had whatever was going on with transactional in Shopify, with no data, no insights into what was actually happening, zero ability to do A/B testing whatsoever, and then also no ability to do like our standard setup with you all now is we have a subscriber flow and we have a one-shot flow, because that's like the easiest, sort of lowest hanging fruit, in my opinion, of how to differentiate the transactional experience, and then also have the different landing pages too. But I mean, the sky's the limit. Like we could have 20 different transactional flows, because all the other tools we work with plug into Klaviyo. So we could do the different track page for people who are subscribed to SMS or not, a different tracking page for people who are a part of the loyalty program or not, a different one for VIP customers. I mean, you can just keep going on and on in terms of how you can customize the Malomo experience, which I love that like you empower us as an agency to be able to sort of get our gears churning and really utilize our brain power as much as possible to make this Klaviyo flow into something special.
Love that.
So I think one thing that I want to touch on is sort of pre-Soylent state for what they were doing, and then post Malomo, like what they currently have set up. So I think I can probably sort of lay out what was happening pre, and it'd be great for you, Jenny, to sort of walk through some of the stuff that you did on your end and how we were able to partner together to get them to where they are now. And then we can dive into the results too, which I know everybody's probably waiting to hear, waiting to hear that. So sort of pre and as a byproduct of how we sort of kick off with a client, we go through an audit with all of them. And so one of the things we did for Soylent is sort of a forecasting document of what we thought we could achieve based off of certain initiatives that we want to implement. So as mentioned, like we found that 15 to 20% of their website traffic was going to that standard Shopify order tracking page. They had a high number of customer service tickets that were related to things that could easily be addressed if we just had some additional touch points. They didn't have any brand content on the landing pages, no product upsells, and zero analytics on what was actually happening with those transactional emails. But then we sort of handed it off to Jenny and team and created a really awesome experience that has seen tremendous results.
Yeah, so we, like Brandon said, we set up 2 different experiences for Soylent. We have a landing page designed for customers who are already subscribed, and then a separate landing page for customers who are purchasing kind of one-off to try and get them to subscribe. So we find this segmentation is really useful. I think customers who are already subscribed to something don't want to see the sign up and like subscribe and save because they're already doing that. So using the subscription page to plug other things that the subscription customers may not even know about. We have a lot of info on the subscriber page about the like sustainability of this particular company and their products. We have the rewards program, referral program, whereas the subscriber or the one-time purchase page is really just trying to get customers to sign up for the subscription program, as well as the rebuy widget, because if you're purchasing a one-off, you're likely not as familiar with the product offerings as someone who's a subscriber. So the rebuy widget is great because it's a dynamic product recommendation. So it checks and sees what this customer has already purchased and then recommends products based on that purchase. So you know that it's recommending products that your customer hasn't already bought in the past. And it kind of exposes them to more of the product collection than they may have known about in the first place. So those are the 2 separate landing pages. And then, like Brandon mentioned, in Klaviyo, we have a segmentation set up that checks to see if a customer is an active subscriber or not. And based on that, it splits them into 2 different emails. The emails themselves, the transactional emails, look exactly the same, but we switch out the links in the emails so that one directs to the subscriber tracking page and the other subscribes the one-time purchase page. So 2 different customers could be getting 2 completely different experiences, but they're both designed to drive repeat purchase and further brand recognition for Soylent.
I think that's one of my favorite parts about the Soylent one is like that we're able to use rebuy as well, because I love it when our merchants get efficiencies with their tech stack and can use them in multiple places. It really just, for one, it makes it more cost effective for them, but it also has a better customer experience when you don't have disparate systems that don't talk to one another. And like Rebuy, Malomo, these are tools that we enable with every merchant we work with now because of the fact that we are able to create these customer experiences. And I think like this is just the tip of the iceberg too of what we'll be able to do with them in terms of the personalization. Like you had mentioned, the eco-conscious section as well that they call out. Like there's a tool like EcoCart that we use that will see the customers who did in fact check off that they want to be carbon neutral for their order, And so then in Klaviyo, that's going to be a segment that we could then put them on a path where all the transactional emails are all about like the fact that you're eco-conscious, this is what we do. And my head is just spinning here in terms of what else we could potentially do for them. But in terms of the actual results, so I know we had a couple things that we wanted to cover there. Who wants to do the unveiling of what the what the results were that we were able to drive for them in the first month alone? Not even, this is even like a 3-month period. This is just the first month that we were up and running with this. I'm not going to steal your thunder, so it's going to have to be one of you two.
I think Eddie's kind of the numbers guy. He's in the sales world, so I'll let him take.
Yeah, let's get the sales pitch. Sales pitch with the ROI too.
Yeah, so Soylent saw some remarkable results. So just in terms of engagement, their customers were looking at the tracking page 6 times per order on average. So just an insane amount of engagement. And like Jenny and Brandon covered, being able to segment that experience led to, I think it was what, Brandon, over 60 grand in the first month alone in repeat purchases. Yep. And overall their ROI is insane right now. It's like 54x ROI with what they're paying us. So Soylent, they're doing a lot of things in terms of improving their customer experience, helping with support tickets, with delayed flows, which Jenny, I would love honestly for you to talk a little bit more about of that. I guess we kind of already did actually in terms of what we can set up in Klaviyo. But on top of being able to offer a really awesome branded customer experience that's sharing that really cool story that Soylent has, just visit their website and you'll clearly see that they have a really remarkable story and brand image there, sharing that at a really important time with customers. But then on top of that, seeing a 54x ROI. A lot of the brands that we work with see something very similar where they're able to, like I talked about earlier, accomplish a lot of the customer experience, reducing those where's my order tickets, and then driving revenue on top of that to justify the cost of the platform itself. So I think those are the kind of highlights in terms of the results there. But I'll let Brandon, you jump in with anything else that you and your team saw.
I mean, I think the biggest thing to stress is that like this is not just a Soylent result case study. We could have looked at any of the other merchants we've onboarded on Malomo and what sort of experience for their customers we've been able to enable via Klaviyo and via the order tracking pages. This is sort of just the norm. So for anybody that's listening or watching this isn't like just reserved for the larger, more I guess CPG brands with more brand recognition like a Soylent. Like this is really powerful and impactful, even for like the smaller startups who are just getting set up. And if anything, I think it's probably even more beneficial for them because this is really when you're trying to get those first customers to be your brand ambassadors. So I think that's the biggest takeaway for me and for anybody that'd be listening is that this is something that can be sort of replicated and utilized for your brand as well. And if you think about it, like why transactional emails are so successful with Malomo, I think one of the biggest things is the number of endpoints you have with the carriers. Like Shopify only has order confirmed and like shipping out for delivery. Whereas with you all, we have at a minimum 5 or 6 flows that are set up. And so each one of those emails also has like an 8% open rate and a 15% click-through rate, which is ridiculous compared to any other marketing email we send because it's a transactional email. But then you land on that page and yeah, you're checking your order, but you've got 1,000 other things that are all about the brand, new products for you to try. And so it really just is a no-brainer. And I think you all make it friendly for a business of any size because of the way that you do sort of your structure and pricing based off of the order volume. And so that's one of my favorite parts too, is that there's tools out there that have paywalls that are prohibitive. And so we can't give everyone that same best-in-class experience. It's only reserved for companies that are doing 20 million, 30 million in GMV, but there's a lot of really awesome brands in that smaller sector. And I think since your pricing is so flexible, and it's also awesome for us too, because we can do the same thing for everyone. It allows people to incrementally grow and get to a place where they want to be. So.
Love that. I have a question for you, Brandon. When you first came across Malomo, I know you've seen obviously the results in terms of revenue and kind of everything that we just talked about. When you went and pitched the first customer on Malomo, like what was the value prop for you as you went and talked to them about the solution? Do you remember?
Oh goodness. I'm curious who the first customer was. I'm gonna look that up after this.
It was Amora, I believe.
No, I think it
It
was
was?
Jinx, right?
Oh,
I think
Amora was the first one that I worked like really hands-on with Brandon's team. Jinx, I didn't realize was an electric customer until after you guys had already launched. So I think of Amora as the first one because I still maintain the relationship with electric when it comes to Amora as opposed to working directly with the customer.
I think there has to be, I'm gonna have to look, but there was definitely a customer who had happened upon you and then just like went ahead and did it. And then I was like in the Klaviyo account and I was like, what is this? And then I started to dig into it a little bit more and was looking at the analytics, and it was like sort of my dirty little secret that I kept for myself and then pretended like I had uncovered Malomo and we were going to bring it out to all of our merchants.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
I got to remember who that merchant was though. But no, I mean, the pitch is, I honestly find it difficult to do the pitch because there's so much going on and like there's so much you could do with it. And so I have difficulties sort of reining myself in and making it easily digestible, because like I could go off on a rant about the order tracking pages. I could talk about how many times people look at them. I could talk about the engagement with the emails. I could talk about the Klaviyo segmentation, but it's a lot, especially if you're hearing it for the first time. So thankfully at this point, we kind of get to position ourselves as, hey, like you're doing the audit with us, you're going to work with us. This is sort of what's happening. And so it's a little bit of less of getting into the nitty gritty of the details and just being like, we're going to show you the results in 30 days and you're going to be happy.
Love that. Love that.
But I think it'd be great if you could sort of lay out how people should get in touch with you. If they just listen to this and they're like, oh my goodness, I can't believe I'm not doing this. Where can they find Malomo? How can they get in contact with you? What do next steps look like there?
Yeah, a couple ways you can get in contact with Malomo. If you go to our site, Go Malomo, it's GOMALOMO, which I'm sure it'll be linked on the video or close by, but gomalomo.com. You want to get going, sign up for a free trial. That option's up there. If you want to get a demo to explore more of the platform, I think we obviously got a lot into the Klaviyo integration and the order tracking pages. But there's a lot of different integrations that we have that we would love to tell you about and teach you about, attentive, postscripts, things of that nature. And then some more kind of back-end analytic type stuff that's really helpful for merchants as they think about measuring their carrier performance. So definitely some more stuff to cover. Go to our website, sign up for a demo. We'll kind of show you the platform. And I think that'll be a great way to get in touch with us. So yeah, I'm pretty sure Brandon, you'll probably link that in the something.
I'll take care of it.
Awesome.
Well, thank you for coming on. This was awesome. For everybody listening, you need to go check out Malomo. You should work with them. It's a no-brainer. And obviously, I got to plug electrIQ. If you want the true best Malomo experience, you can reach out to us as well.
Absolutely.
Hey everyone, it's Brandon with electrIQ Marketing, and today I'm going to show you the setup that we did for Soylent using Malomo and Klaviyo. So at a high level, Malomo allows you to move your transactional emails over from Shopify and Recharge into Klaviyo. It also allows you to create custom order tracking pages, which allow you to do really creative design. You can add in product recommendations, additional brand content. It's a marked difference from the standard Shopify transactional emails and standard Shopify order tracking page. Now, the reason why this is important is because roughly 10 to 20% of a brand's site traffic will go to that order confirmation page. On average, a customer will check their order tracking page about 4.6 times per order. It's a huge opportunity to drive additional brand awareness, education, and also additional revenue. Now, by moving it over into Klaviyo, you're able to split the transactional flows based off of properties that you have within the account on that particular customer. So what we typically do, and what we did for Soylent here, is we split the transactional flow based on whether they are a one-time customer or a subscription customer. And the way we were able to do that is a simple conditional split within Klaviyo here, where we just check the Shopify tag to see if they are an active subscriber. If they are, they go down a different journey. And if they're not, they go down the one-time purchase journey. Now, the reason we do this is because we want to communicate with them differently. You communicate with one-shot customers differently than you would subscription customers. And this is just a basic application of this idea. We could take this much further. We could say, is this a VIP customer or not? Is this a first-time customer or returning? Is this customer subscribed to SMS marketing or not? If they're not, maybe we prompt them on the landing page to subscribe to SMS marketing with a bounce back offer. There's a ton of different ways that you can customize and personalize the transactional journey now because of the fact that they're ported over into Klaviyo. Now we can go ahead and take a look here. And you can see how much more branded than it is than your standard Shopify transactional emails too. So you have your standard Soylent header at the top, you have your tracking information, you have all the items, and you have the referral program called out here as well because this is already a subscription customer. So we want to call out the referral program because since they are obviously a fan, maybe they'll want to promote it to their friends as well. Then the other thing I want to show here is the order tracking page. So this is what we did for one-time customers. So if you're a one-shot customer and you come to this landing page, you're going to see your order information over here. For this order, it's already delivered. Then over here, you're going to see subscribe and save up to 23% because we want to get these one-time customers to subscribe. Here, we're actually leveraging another integration called Rebuy because Rebuy and Malomo have a really great integration together. So these products are pulled in dynamically based off of Rebuy's AI engine that is predicting what this customer is going to be most likely to purchase based off of their previous order behavior. And we have the ability to upgrade to subscribe and save or just have a one-shot purchase. And then all of these click out to add to cart. You can see we talk about what's inside and the Soylent mission, as well as promoting the referral or the rewards program here, and your standard Instagram and social proof at the bottom. Now for subscription customers, it's different. We just have a simple hero image here at the top, and we're pushing education and content first and foremost. We have the blog, the story, the formula, and the Soylent mission, and then we go into referring friends, since they are a subscription customer, and then we have social proof again here. So you can see we tailored the experiences on these two landing pages a bit to be personalized for who that customer is. Again, this is just the tip of the iceberg of what you could do because of the fact that you do have the transactional emails in Klaviyo now. Any segmentation you can possibly think of, you can use that to personalize the transactional journey now. As always, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below. Otherwise, you can reach out to me at brandon@electricmarketing.com or visit us at electricmarketing.com. Thanks.